The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Oh, okay, it worked. Why, hello. Hang on a second. I have to do things because things. And Rob said, hi, welcome to a 6-month plan. I am Chris Brogan. I am so glad that you're here. Let me just do one last thing here and click a button for Rob. I hope that's the right button. Yes. So if you have never been to one of our webinars before, you should know that if you have an audio problem, if you can't see me, blah, 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 it's almost always on your side. You might have too many tabs open. Something might not be going well. Who the heck knows? But it's almost always on your side. Hey, good to know. Thank you, Rob. Hi. So we're going to talk through how to build 6-month plans of any kind and also your plans in general. Happy to see you here, Bob. Thanks for dropping me a line. Hey, can't wait till you get back. My mom and dad are in town around that time. I might not be able to see you for a couple weeks, but we should get a beverage. And Linda, always happy that you're here. All right, so we're going to talk a lot about how to look at planning, some sample blocks for your creations, and some wins. You know, I had made a note for myself that I'm going to go sneak into my own thingy here and find. There we go. I'm like magic, aren't I? All right, and here's what we're going to talk about. Better planning tools. We're going to talk about specific planning modules and action stacks for you. Hey, David, I just realized I don't think I wrote action stacks into this thing. So make sure at the bottom I talk to you about action stacks. Otherwise, who knows what'll happen. All right. So by the way, the idea that any of us could actually help you build a 6-month plan would be crazy because I don't know what's going on in your world. I don't know your cycles. Nothing's going to match. They sure don't match mine. What's coming up for me in 6 months has nothing to do with what's going on for you. And further, you know, I've come to a very weird realization very recently, which is that I don't really understand time very well. It doesn't work very well for me, which means I eat up time sometimes without realizing it. Time flies by really fast without me noticing it. And I always think the same couple things. Either I think that something happened a couple months ago or that it happened like a million years ago. And I'm always wrong whenever I make my guess. But who knows? But, you know, time flies when you're ignoring it. Let's dig in. First off, plans and units of measurement. So here's what I tell everyone who will listen. And I bet some of the folks here, I'm looking through the list of people who are here with me live. I bet some of you have heard me say this before. I know Jane has a million times over. Hey, John, glad to see you here, Mr. Ackley. Not Rob and not Chris. That's interesting. Who the heck is not Rob and not Chris? And interesting. Your day is your week, is your month, is your year. So I say that all the time. I'll say it again really quick in case you haven't heard of me ever say it. Your day is your week, is your month, is your year. Meaning anything you're doing in any given day is a reflection of what you're going to accomplish in any given year. Did you not make any sales calls today? Well, then business isn't going to be so great because you didn't get as many sales, I'm going to guess. Didn't create anything? Well, you're not going to get that project finished. So it's really important. But Chris, you protest. I got busy. Everyone is busy. Not everyone is successful. Oh, thanks, Rob. I didn't even know that. Stephen R. Covey once said that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Now, I love that for two reasons. One, I think it's a really super smart quote. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sneeze. Two, in a lot of my books, I usually seem to write the word thing a lot, and editors catch it and then tell me things like I've written 795 instances of the word things. So Covey said, make sure the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So here's how you've got to look at your planning efforts and how we're going to approach it today. This planning idea is a new thing for me, that the way I've laid it out. It echoes some of the other stuff that we've done. So the 5 things. Oh, and by the way, again, if this is your first time at Fight Club, you have to fight. If this is your first time at one of our webinars, all these notes and the video get sent to you, so you don't have to scribble like a mad person. Don't worry about it. However, if you want to learn, kinesthetic learning is a great way to learn, so feel free to write down stuff you like. Here's our 5 stages, basically. Pre-work, the big work, heads up, the grind, and connect. And so pre-work is what defines there in the first place. The big work is our giant goal and what kind of work it takes to get that done. Heads up work is direction and adjustment work, 9-box work for my 20-minute plan friends. And the grind is day-to-day stuff, kind of like your to-do list. And connect is to share the good word and stay in touch. So before you can plan your 6 months, it's really important to understand that whatever you want to see happen is listed. What do you want to see happen? Where are you headed? What does that look like? It is so important. So let's say right now, I mean, it is whatever time it is the year for you, you look at this time and you say, okay, this is where I've gotten so far. Oh man, I'm not really going to hit my numbers right now. I'm really going to get this many more. So you start looking at that and you start saying, okay, well, if I need to get this much more to make these numbers work, what does that look like? How do I divide that into months? How do I, influence that number, etc.? That's where you start. So no matter what you're selling, if you're not selling enough of it or it's not working out for you in planning phase, what comes next is you deciding, how am I going to get to where I want to go? And this is part of your pre-work section. So if you're with me live, I would say start jotting some notes down. But if you're getting this after the fact, pause and jot some notes, because I want to know the answer to those questions. Where are you headed? What does that look like? What do you want to see happen? In 6 months' time, I want this to happen. I really am talking to you right now. Write something down. I'd love to hear some answers. And by the way, feel free to fill it out in the question section so we can talk to you live. The pre-work to knowing your plans is a lot like what we cover in the beginning of Simple Marketing System with clarity and that sort of a thing, but also about 20-minute plan jumpstart, especially because you've got to need to know some things before you go off and make a plan. What's your goal? Where are you headed? And then more importantly, what's your one number? And how do you measure progress on that goal? If you have not taken 20-minute plan jumpstart, I will walk through the one number really quickly. If you have taken 20-minute plan jumpstart, the whole purpose of today's webinar, because this is insiders and unlimited people, is I need you to refocus. I need to lock you back in and have you go, oh, I've got to really work on this. Chris is giving me this opportunity to sort of reset myself, and I'm going to go. If you're an unlimited person, I am mentioning insider stuff over and over and over again, which gives you a sense of what the difference is between the programs. Unlimited, you just get the webinars. This is a webinar for you, but I'm kind of hinting through what we do in the big kid world in Insider with the extra stuff. So if you haven't considered making that transition, we can help you. All right. Your one number is one kind of number to track. I stole the idea roughly from Moneyball, the book and the movie. The Moneyball idea was, what is one particular number? By the way, I love seeing the 6-month notes coming in, so that is awesome. The one number from Moneyball was the idea that there was one number that could rule all the other statistics, especially in something like baseball. People collect lots of stats. What was the one number that they could figure out would magically show them a better way to value potential players for their team? This is Billy Beane, and I can't remember Jonah Hill's character's name, but Jonah Hill's character. And they came up with the number on base average. And that was interesting because what they said was it didn't matter how many hits or home runs or any other stuff you got. If you got on base, that meant you were in a position to score. So the way we steal this for our business is the one number is the number before the number. So if you are selling cars, the number isn't, I want to sell 20 cars in the next 6 months. The number is, I want to get 100 test drives because I know that for every 5 test drives, they'll sell a car. See how that works? It's the number before the number that influences the number I want to change. So you want to lose 30 pounds, then maybe the one number is I will go to the gym 4 times a week and I will eat 4 very heavy plant-based meals in the given time frame or something like that. It's the number before the number. So we look for subscribers to my newsletter as our one number, for instance, because we know from there we can influence some number of sales. So our one number happens to be that. So what is your one number for your 6-month goal? I mean, even starting to look at the goals that are coming in, I want to be handling, I want 10 great clients. Well, so then what does that look like for calls? What's your current success rate for, trying to land a client right now? So if you want 10 clients, how many calls does it take for you to get to 10 clients, one at a time or whatever? That might be your one number. See how that works? So that's important. What's your goal? Where are you headed? What's your one number? How do you measure progress on that goal? That's what we do in pre-work. It's also the setup that's required to work on your plan. If your plan is, I'm going to open up a food truck, you might have some kind of punch list for what you need to do a food truck. So before we go on to the big work after pre-work, I'm just going to read some of these 6-month goals. Tom says, 6 months from now, I want to be handling PR for 10 great author clients. Matt says, in 6 months' time, I want to have 6 new clients on monthly retainer. Love these numbers. Sue says, I'm here to refocus. By the end of 6 months, I want to sell 1,000 books and make 4,000 in predictable revenue. I'm curious if those two things are related. Are your books $4 a piece, then that would be your 1,000 in revenue. That's a pretty good solid set of numbers. My one number is 2,500 free signups to my Facebook group. Well, I'm curious, by the way, do you know that once someone is signed to your Facebook group, they're going to take that action that makes you money? Because if your one number is something that doesn't necessarily directly impact your success, then it might not be the right one number for you. Matt says, I want to have 4 prospect conversations a week to get 6 new clients. So does that mean it only takes you 4 prospect conversations to land 1 client at a time or anything like that? Like, how long does that take you to get there? That's a good thing to think about. I will pitch my book to 25 influentials, publish 10 guest posts. Okay, so that question is, so if you're saying I'm going to pitch it to these influential people, that's in your mind how you're going to drive that sale. So that's interesting, because even as an influencing marketer guy myself, that does push some sales. But with me, with 352,000 Twitter followers, a few 100,000 people who come to the blog, etc., I sometimes only move 80 or 90 books for other people. And even my own book, I might only move a couple hundred books. So to get to your 4,000, to ask 25 influential people to push, 10 guest posts, etc., you're going to have a long haul. So you might have to get a lot more serious about that number. My buddy George Resch, who goes by Tank Sinatra, he has 1 million Instagram followers, and to him to hit those numbers would be kind of hard for him. So just pointing that out to you. My one number is warm in-person meetings, 15 per month. Okay, and that'll get you to your 10 clients. Got you. Okay. David says I'm going to increase membership site members to 1,000. Number emails on my membership site wait list. So, I don't exactly get what you're saying. Are you saying I'm waiting to get 1,000 people in the wait list? That's interesting. Let's see. Lisa says I'm going to have 2,000 subscribers at the end of 5 months. And when you have 2,000 subscribers, does that drive a number for you? Does that drive something financial? In 6 months, I'll have 50 new subscribers to my legal newsletter for startups. And do those 50 people turn to leads? See how I keep asking the same question? Like, that's a great number. Now what's it going to do for you? Linda says in 6 months, we'll have negotiation online courses. My eyeballs are bending here. In 4 new clients that have ethics certification implemented and deployed to the 5 Fortune 10 companies who've requested it for their suppliers. That sounds good. I'm going to look to add 2 new blogging and social media clients in 6 months. So 2 clients out of 6 months, that's a lot of work. Let's see, that would be 18 conversations a month to get 1 new client on retainer. So my 4 conversations a week. Okay, that sounds really good. I also want to increase my newsletter subscribers. Is there a link to download the notes? No, the link isn't until after the whole thing is handled, Rob. So just a refresher, the very next day you get the link with the video and the notes. The notes don't come to you before the session. The last thing in the universe I would ever allow you to do is read ahead of me. That would be horrible and rude. All right, I'm just teasing a bit. So only a little bit though. Tracy says, I've got a producer sell 200,000 in insurance premium dollars per month. So that's not the one number. That's the goal. The one number is, how do you get there? Does that mean 500 phone calls? Does that mean this many emails? What is the number that drives that revenue number? That revenue number is not the number, just to remind you. All right. So David says, my site does 1 launch a year. If I can get 500 on the wait list, I should be able to convert enough to memberships to 1,000 paying members. Gotcha. Good numbers. All right, so the big work, let's get onto there. We all know that there's what's important and then there's what needs doing, and that the two don't always relate. What is the big work that keeps moving your goal forward? So remember, there's 5 things we're covering right now: pre-work, big work, heads up, the grind, and connect. We're on the big work. Big work is that big stuff that relates to moving your goals forward. So what's necessary for this element of planning is to keep your goal front and center, keep your mission right there, and ensure that you work more often than not on that which moves you forward. So the question is, every single day, how much of my day is being spent on the big work? Because this is, Stephen Covey and his rocks, right? Big rocks, little rocks, medium, sand, water. And he says, if you imagine the big rocks are the most important things you work on, et cetera, et cetera. He shows you just how much you can fit into one big glass jar with this thing. Go Google Stephen Covey and his big rocks, or all the other people who've ripped them off since then. Totally a big deal. And I'm glad that your book is that good. That means a lot. 2 hours a day times 5 dedicated to build an online course. So it's going to take you 6 months to build an online course. That's terrifying. Second off, that's if your goal is to build an online course, you can get that done, but that's not really your big number per se. Your one number is maybe how many, whatever it's going to take you, however many webinars or whatever to land that many customers or buyers. It's the thing that drives the revenue thing or the thing that drives the end goal thing. The course is just a project you're working on. Remember that. All right. So after big work, which is, making sure you're keeping the mission right in front of you, and I will circle back on all of this in a minute, we get into heads up. Heads up is what is the 20-minute plan's 9-box stuff. So anyone who's done 20-minute plan jumpstart with me, I think there's a bunch of you here, this experience, the 9-box. This reminds you to work on that bigger work and what you're going to work on while building your next level. Heads up work is where you pay attention to the health of your business as well. So it's where you schedule reviews of your business, which is a 9-box type activity. Think about what needs shifting. This is also where you think up and schedule some planning sessions. So if you're going to have a brainstorm, my buddy Joe Storage is launching a new business. He and Angie set up a meeting to start talking about what they're going to call the new business. He messaged me midway through it. He says, hey, we're kind of a little stuck on names. What do you think? And I gave him an idea, and he said, wow, that's great. That's kind of where we were thinking. And we agreed on one in like 5 minutes in that call. But that was heads up work because your head is up from the grind of doing your regular business, right? You're thinking up, what do I want to be when I grow up? But it's 9-box stuff when we talk 20-minute plan, because it's that stuff that grows your business, not just the mainstream of your business. If that does not make sense, either you haven't taken 20-minute plan jumpstart yet, or you're kind of new to it all, and that's fine too. Welcome if you're new. Everything I'm talking about is stuff that you can find in some of our other courses and webinars, or it's stuff that you probably have a glancing experience with. If you are new, but you're an unlimited or an insider, remember that you can go back and look at all of the webinars if you're an unlimited and all the webinars and courses if you're an insider. So the grind is your to-do list junk. It's your gotta get stuff done. It's called Dave back. It's the opposite of the 20-minute plan, but it's what gets the job stuff done, the day job stuff, the work stuff. In some versions of 20-minute plan worksheets that I've come up with, sometimes I put a to-do list back on it. Most times I take it back off because it just frustrates me too much. It makes me focus on the wrong stuff. But we do need the grind. Connect to something new. So connecting is making media, creating something of value, and then connecting with people. When we connect, one of the efforts is we go in and we look through connections that we can have that might lead us to business, connections that we can help that might lead us to future business. I spend part of every single day, for instance, on LinkedIn, connecting with people, just sort of looking through my contacts over and over and over again, looking through what they've posted and shared, and seeing if there's ways that I can be helpful, ways that I can refer other people, etc., and keeping my name warm. And I do 5 of those a day for sure, every day on LinkedIn. That's one way I connect. The other is through media. So I record a podcast and publish it. Oh, I have to record a podcast and publish it. I put out newsletters. I put out blog posts on chrisbrogan.com, and I make content that connects people to what I'm doing. It's content marketing plus outreach. It's doing the daily work of making sure people know that they belong with you. I'll tell you a real world example. So unfortunate things happen to me sometimes because I'm so connected to so many people and because I'm so aware of what's going on in the world around me. And a nice gentleman has a book coming out. And so out of the blue, he starts connecting with me and, hey, how are you? Zip, zippy doo. I'm going to be friendly with you. And I haven't heard from him in months and months and months. And it's because his new book's coming out. So I am like, oh, how funny, how opportune, how interesting that you want me to be on your dumb new show, because I know you're going to ask me to be on my dumb new shows. You're setting up the law of reciprocity, which anyone who's read old-timey marketing knows very well. I've interviewed Dr. Cialdini. Absolutely, Rob Hatch. Absolutely. Rob just said in private message, who is it? And he named it. One shot. Didn't even have to guess. What a jerk. So that kid, I'm going to do everything in my power to not be especially helpful because he doesn't connect in between. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Chris Brogan, nice guy, influencer, is saying, I hope this guy blows it, because he's not a nice person. He's only nice when he needs something. And I'm just not going to reward that behavior on this universe. All right. Tom says, maybe you should tell the insiders on this webinar that many of us who are owners have some great conversations about the 20-minute plan in our Slack community. That has been a huge help to me. Absolutely. Uh, well, Meredith, we can help you with that number. Good, and I love that. There you go. Chris is being mean. Good for you, Chris, but I have to. The drink tonight is plain old iced tea. I was making sun tea. I noticed, by the way, I accidentally cracked my pitcher that I used to make sun tea, so now I have to make a new one. I was spilling all over the counter, and I'm like, I'm not this messy. I'm kind of messy, but I'm not this messy, and I was spilling everywhere. Well, there's a crack right down the front seam of the whole thing, and it was just like, it's plastic, so it was just like pouring out, and I was like, what? So I got to order that from the Schmamazon after this. All right, so let's look at this. So 6-month plan, let's start boxing this up and talking about which parts change and which parts don't. Your goal and your one number, these ones stay the same. Unless you hit your goal and you've got to move it up a little bit and raise the bar, that's not going to change. The big work, this is a reflection of your goals. So the larger categories of your actions won't change, but the day-to-day of it gets reflected in the heads up. Heads up, again, this is the 9 box and 20-minute plan. This changes daily. This is the on the business type work. This is important. The grind, this is to-do stuff. It's low level. Nothing big is listed there. Changes all the time. Connect, daily. Now you're going to do different things every day, but connect is going to change daily. So that tells you a little bit about that. You absolutely can get help with that, Emily. You start by saying, this is the thing I sell. This is how I sell it. This is how many people need to buy it for me to make my money. What now? And I will walk you through that, I promise. By the way, insiders who don't go to the Slack group are like people who are buying a car and then leaving without the top half of the car. All right, so let's record and execute your 6-month plan. Obviously, you don't have to do this live in this video, but if you're watching the replay, this is where you get out a notepad and you start on a notepad, even if you're going to put it in software or whatever. The actual format of creating the plan isn't really all that vital. Use whatever you want. You know, with 20-minute plan, I don't have it right next to me. I meant to bring the notebook over. We have the 20-minute plan wins sheets, and I print them. I go to Staples. I get 30 of them at a time, sometimes 60 at a time, and then I go print them, and I fill it out every single day. Rob does this religiously, even more than me. And then I've used paper. So I did it almost every day for a year. Sometimes I skip days or I cheat a little bit, but you know, whatever. You can do it digitally. You can use whatever planning system you want, but here's also what I want to recommend. Anything that you don't review daily is going to fade away quickly. And to that end, it might be beneficial to create some kind of form that lets you record the following each day. This is what I'm calling in this webinar, the big work. This is also at the beginning of, most of this is at the beginning of our 20-minute plan wins sheet. So what is your mission? And so your mission might be, you know, mine is, so my big Chris Brogan mission is helping people use tech to drive better human interaction. That's my, between now and the time I'm dead. My mission for Owner as a project, Owner Media Group, is to help owners use strategy. I don't know what we're saying these days, but strategy and tools to win something. I don't know. I'll have to see it. It's on the website. Owner.media. Let's see. My big mission is strategy and skills for the modern business. I knew there were some words there. So what's my goal? My goal is I would love, you know, 1,000 insiders. Now I'm not anywhere near that goal, but my goal is that. So then I can start from there. So my approach to that goal is through getting more email newsletter subscribers and through the systems that are going to earn me those subscribers. Then I will get more people to consider converting to Insider. And then from there, I can help them more. And then what are my 3 words? So if you haven't done the my 3 words thing, Google my 3 words just to check it out. Excuse me. What are these? What 3 words? And why does he have the win over me on Google here? My 3 words for 2017. It also covers all my past words. And my words for 2017 are move, voice, and game. These things mean something to me. And then you can share your 3 words if you want to. Isn't that cool? So I write my 3 words out every single day so that I don't blank on them or anything like that. I keep them very top of mind. The 3 words are, instead of a resolution, this is kind of my compass points, my lighthouses, my way to guide myself through how I choose my mission, my goal, my approach, and all that sort of a thing. Tom's 3 words for 2017 are, I don't know what, owner, action, and systems. Oh, that's actually the name of a thing we sold. All right, so, oh, I'm on the wrong document. No wonder it all looked weird to me. So then my 3 words, and then focus. What are you going to focus on? The focus can change day to day, but it should be kind of like, I'm going to be working on this sort of a thing. And then last is your 1 number, and your 1 number is there to remind you. So Matt said he was going to do a whole bunch of calls to reach his goal of more clients. And, there's different ways. Tom says I'm going to do, what was it, 15 in-person meetings or whatever to do that. Remember about in-person meetings, though. Remember we said that, driving to all those coffee things maybe isn't the best plan. So, nail something else. All right. So our love, freedom, and responsibility. That's a good one. So there we go. And then next, the other thing that I'd want as part of your 6-month plan somewhere in the process is the 9-box, a la the 20-minute plan. Now, if you're not a 20-minute plan person, I'll walk you through the 9-box. It's super easy. There's a couple different ways. Tom's our grow, work, and give. These are all 20-minute blocks. So 20 minutes split into 3 is an hour. And so my 20-minute plan, handy dandy egg timer, always handy. This is my little ladybug. cbrogan.me/ladybug gets you one of these babies. I think Jane bought some cat ones. I set my 9-box to whatever my big goals are for the day, and I put them all in here. So for instance, my big goal is to get more subscribers. So I spent 20 minutes today reworking part of my Hootsuite bulk form so that my Hootsuite publisher looked right. So let's see, I'll log in really quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But, I set up automated tweets every day, as well as, my regular connections and connectivity. Oh, there's only 3 left in the day. So yum, 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 my newsletter. Want some? Are you on YouTube? What's your channel about? Here's mine. And then take me on the road with you, brief episodes and big lessons. So there you go. So that is what a 9-box is you plan out your 20 minutes. So if something might take you 40 minutes, well, then you can overlap into 40. But in that, I put the stuff that we called in this form the heads up, which is the stuff that's going to make your business grow. So if you're going to plan, let's say that maybe Meredith, or let's say Emily Gale says, I really need to make a new product because the product I have right now isn't really selling very well. I'm going to make a new one. Product development could definitely be a way that you use the 9-box. You might set up 40 minutes in a given day, but you're going to do your 5 outreach connect things. You can do that with setting the time up in here and making sure you plot that time into your day. I'll give you one quick variation on the theme that Rob did. I don't do this. This is a Rob thing, but I want you to know that it exists because some people are weird like me and some people are weird like Rob. Rob does, and this is still 3 hours, but Rob has 3 10-minute blocks, 3 20-minute blocks, and 3 30-minute blocks. I would never be able to do that because I don't know. One is my brain is set up for 20-minute spots, and 2 is that my brain doesn't work very well with, well, I used up a 10. Now what am I going to do? So there we go. And then a grind or to-do list. This is the one that I make and then delete a lot of times. I have a to-do list, then I don't have a to-do list, then I have one. Because if I put a to-do list up, I almost never accomplish my most important stuff, my 9-box stuff. Emily Gale's 3 words are intention, sustainable action. Intention, sustainable, and action. If I could have 4, I would add value. Got it. Oh, Rob says that's Tom's our grow, work, and give. Rob says he's back to 20 minutes. Good. All right, and then my last thing on this thing for our 6-month plan, and I'm talking monthly on this, but I'm talking daily on this, is a connect section. And in it, I would have a media, a marketing, a follow-up, and a spot for connecting with 5 people. Think about that every single day, reaching out to 5 people. Watch, I'll go into LinkedIn really quick. And let's see. I'll go to my connections. I'll click my network. No, that's the invitations. Hi, Beth. You're a nice person. Dr. Jones, I'll take you. No, you're very nice. No, and no. Ghostwriters. All right, so my connections. Here we go. So let's, instead of recently added, I will go to last name. And I'll look down here and I will see, let's see. Dr. Daryl Adams, he's a kind of recent one. He's a rock and roll, hip hop, and soul superintendent. All right, so what I would do with him is I would say, hey, doctor, it was so cool to connect, man. Thank you so much for that. That's really great. By the way, I do Chris Brogan in the classroom. You're school superintendent. Do you got anybody who needs to see me in the classroom? That's a free service, but I'm trying to mind control everybody long before they can pay me so that they'll know my name long before they need it. So I might check out with Mahmoud Ali Mohammed. He's a dude who's doing stuff out in the UAE. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I'd love to do another gig back out in the UAE. So that's how I do it. So see what I'm talking about? I would connect to 5 people a day. I would connect to them, whatever I can think of to offer them for help, not for sales per se, but just what can I do to keep the connection warm? And the more I do this, the more people are going to have me top of mind. Now, by the way, I could do this in 20 minutes time, the 5-person part of this. So that's what I do with the connect section. So these are the elements of the plan. So for instance, let's say, what's somebody selling on the list? Give me something that you're selling. Move, make, and me, says Linda. I like those. Stephanie's words are energy, action, and connect. Ooh. Tom says that the 20-minute plan worksheet has been the single most significant help for me over the last year and a half. I like this new iteration a lot. Now, this, by the way, isn't a sheet. This is just me adding some junk to it, but who knows? All right, tell me one of the things you sell. Lisa, what do you sell? As if I don't know. Lisa's 3 words, by the way, are execute, jump, and believe. Okay, so Tracy sells medical malpractice insurance. So what your mission might be is to help medical professionals get through the annoyance of modern insurance experiences. I mean, or you can say it much nicer because you're going to be nice to the company, but what you're going to really say is, I make it better for these people. Your goal might be something like whatever it's going to be to hit your 200,000. So, if it's your, let's say, 3 new clients a month, and maybe you found that it takes you 10 calls to get a client, so you decide 30 calls a month is your one number. Your focus is on clarify the value of my process to new customers. My 3 words, who knows? And your approach is, let's see. Wait, so if you do 3 hours of outreach, you get 5 sales? That's pretty good. So anyway, your approach might be that you start having webinars on other stuff doctors can do or medical people can do. So your approach might be medical entrepreneurship content marketing. So what you're going to do is, no one's super excited to talk to medical malpractice insurance professional. No one, 0 people. I'm sure you're lovely, but no one wants to talk to you. They're like, you're an evil, a necessary evil. So instead, you make it that you're the kind of person that helps them think about medical entrepreneurship. My shrink has a business with my general practitioner, and they sell treatments, what's that word I'm trying to say? Ketamine treatments as a absolute cash business related to the mental health industry as a very lucrative business aside for them. The other guy, my general practitioner, has a huge weight loss treatment practice as well as his main practice. So medical entrepreneurship is how he gets it done. So then, if I'm looking for 3, you just said that 3 hours a day of connecting for 5 sales. So maybe you're getting stuff done. One of your 20 is to create referral requests. Maybe some of what you're going to do, maybe you'll take a whole hour to develop content, for this idea, so you're going to make some videos, or you're going to find some people to interview for your show and all that. So you start filling that out. Your to-do list is exactly what I'm talking about. Your media is, you might start saying, launch the medical entrepreneur show. And by the way, some of this might be even, check out other medical people podcasts. So you start to see what else is out there. Your marketing might be that you're going to have these live events, that sort of a thing. And so that's how you walk through this. That's kind of how we, work through a project in this plan. I have to delete all this stuff because it just dawned on me that, what I'm giving you right now is going to be baked into a file. And then you'll be like, wait, I don't want all this stuff. How do I clear all this? Okay, I'll deal with it later. Oh, I think I know. I just have to clear one side at a time. So The big goal in getting this stuff all figured out, though, is look what I'm explaining to you in the 6-month plan. What I'm working on with you in the 6-month plan is not the specifics of your plan, but how do you frame it? How do you box it up? How do you make the packaging make sense to you so you can then use this in your ways? And in that process, you're going to move yourself further. We're getting towards Q&A, but I'm going to just take a quick look through. Business coaching, so you can see how that one kind of worked out. Connect, serve, and value is Allison's 3 words. And this is why I love Owner Media. Thank you, Tracy. Do you write yours the night before? Yes. So this is Rob Hatch could be saying, I told you so. Rob, I always did mine first thing in the morning. Rob did his at night. Rob is smarter than me. That's why he did putting success in your way and all this sort of thing. I now do them at the night before. So before I go to bed, I'll write out what I want my plan to look like, the 9-box part of it for sure. And in the morning, sometimes as part of the ritual, I'll rewrite in my mission and all that stuff. But the 9-box type stuff, especially goes in there. I'm going to show you that form in one quick second. How does the connecting with 5 people different than the guy you were chewing out at the beginning? Oh, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked it, Rex. So the difference is if I'm connecting with people all the time and offering to help them all the time, then what I'm not doing is setting them up just because of my podcast or something like that, or the thing I need them to give me. What I'm doing is I'm offering help all the time year round to make sure that people know that I'm out there helping all the time. This person only started to offer me stuff because he knew he needed something from me. I don't ask for anything in return. There's no quid pro quo. That is 100% the difference, Rex. Quid pro quo, Starling. And that is the problem. All right. One-on-one and group coaching program, 90 days and workshops. Yes. I did the same thing. I refused to do it the night before, and then I finally gave in, and it was way better. All right. So, I'm going to show you the 20-minute plan win sheet. If you've not done 20-minute plan, you haven't seen this. And if you have done 20-minute plan, you're like, oh, my daily friend. So this is the 20-minute plan win sheet. Basically, your focus information, your date. I could probably just do a little bit of online editing right now and add in the 1 number thing, and it would be even better. But, what is your mission? What is your goal? What is your approach? And what is your 3 words? Again, write those 3 words every single day. Every day I want to see Bob Schrader sitting at a table somewhere writing now, share, and proactive. And then your 9-box, you load in your action stacks. And remember, we're going to talk about action stacks. I'm going to make you one live here. And then I've added to it somewhat recently this 4 must-dos, which is a lot like what I said up here. Excuse me, that sort of focus thing. One of the focus things I do is, what's something I've really got to get done today that's going to push that thing on deck. And the brain on deck is what are some of my up and coming 9-box stuff that I didn't fit into the 9-box today. So basically, if I've got a lot of stuff to get done in my 3 hours today, I might not get to everything else. So I start sticking things in on deck to remember to put them in for the next day. Brain is where you put down your random distractions and interruptions. That's 100% a Rob Hatch thing that I learned, which is, something comes up and you're in the middle of a conversation. Rob and I are in meetings. We're always going on tangents. Rob always fills this section out. And he's like, okay, I'll just pick this up again in a little bit. So that's how the 20-minute plan wins sheet looks. And that's part of the 20-minute plan jumpstart, if you haven't seen that before. All right. When I plan for 6 months, I actually split it into 2 blocks of 3 months. I find that my head works better thinking about quarters. My head works so much for every 3 months. The 3 months is a way for me to keep a better focus and also to be able to review a bit more often. Let me talk a little bit about how to set this up. So first off, determine the big goal or goals for the next 6 months. And can you split it into 3-month plans, right? Like, so for the next 6 months, do you want to set up 2 plans or whatever? And what are you going to work on? Like Rob right now is working a lot on Facebook marketing. He's working on doing a lot more analytics and statistics gathering. And he's working on some other things for growth for the newsletter to see if that's going to make a dent and change things and move the ball. And so that's what I know he's working on for the 3 months. Then the next 3 months, he might work on something different. List out specific discrete projects that will move your goal forward. Now, this doesn't go into any of those form areas that I mentioned before. I'm just saying list it all out. Take a blank piece of paper, take a notepad, open up Trello. I don't care. Sticky notes on a whiteboard. I'll get to that in a second. But list out those discrete projects that are going to push your goal forward. Find the numbers. What are your metrics? What's your one number? You saw it. When I asked people what their one number was, almost everyone gave me a wrong answer. Not intentionally and not because you're dumb. You just haven't thought of this process before. You haven't worked through this process before. But most people are set up to either think of what's their end state requirement, what's their goal at the end of everything. But that doesn't change things, right? So if you know you need to get 100 sales, unless you know what it takes to get the 100 sales, then it doesn't matter what this number is, right? So find those numbers and find your metrics. The other thing that people do a lot is they just do stuff and get really busy doing stuff, but they don't know how it's impacting anything. They don't see that there's any change. And, Rob and I just had a conversation like this, I don't know, a couple months ago. Rob says, do you know, I don't remember what the number was, so I'm going to make up a number, but it was like almost 30% of my random traffic to our sites was coming from Twitter. And I did not know that. I thought Twitter had long since died. And I was walking around telling people, man, yeah, Twitter's dead. No one goes there anymore, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, it was driving tons of business. Needle off the record, I start loading up stuff, and I ask Rob to start testing and checking it out. What's interesting is, now Rob uses like real grown-up people stats, but I'll show you really quickly, even Twitter's built-in analytics. Twitter's analytics say that over the last 28 days, my impressions went up to 1.17 million impressions, and that means a growth of 219.5%. I had a 219% growth in my tweet peoples. I gained another 212 followers. You can see that the trend graphic is saying it's up. My mentions are down. Fewer people are saying my name. What a vanity metric. Who gives a shit? My profile visits are down. Bingo, also related. Who gives a shit? Just click links, baby. That's all I want. Click links. By the way, it's really funny. It's telling me I haven't tweeted at all in June. If anyone follows me on Twitter, you know that I've tweeted the hell out of June. So, let's see. Post from 8 minutes ago, 38 minutes ago, 53 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. I tweet a lot. So, and Lara says that a tweet reminded me to join this today. See? Look at the world. It's coming together. Okay. So find the numbers. That is super vital. Califragilisticexpialidocious important. Divide the work into daily elements and or estimate any hours or dollars involved. So this takes explain. This takes English. So when I say that, if you've got to make an extra, well, there was the thing about I want to have 4,000 book sales, I think it was, or 1,000 book sales or whatever it is. 1,000 book sales, $4,000. So let's just do really quick. One of my favorite things in the world to do is pop open Google Sheets. So let's say a book unit, let's see, book costs $4 and I want to make $4,000. Well, then I already know because it's D1 times E1. It's right there. So I need to get 4 units of, $4. I need to get 1,000 units of those sold. But then what if I offer some kind of a class and the class is, $100 and I get 5 units of this. So then I realized that I only have to make, even fewer sales or whatever. So maybe I only have to make, I don't know, math is hard, but you start to see the numbers in a different way when you start thinking through what you're going to do. By the way, this one really basic process of how much does something cost, how much does something, how many of something do I have to sell to get it? This helps me every day of my life think about what kinds of things am I going to do and spend my time on financially, right? So I'll show you an example. Insiders are $100 a month, and let's say I have 200 of them, equals D1 times E1, right? So I get 20,000 a month from that kind of business. One speech is, let's say, anywhere from 15,000 to 22,000. But D2 times E2. One speech is, if I only get one speech, I don't have to worry about trying to keep 200 people happy, right? So should I work on speeches or insiders? My opinion, I work on insiders because I'd rather work with you, but I could throw it all away and just do a couple speeches, right? I could, right? So that's how you start looking at stuff. Then you start saying, well, what's coaching? So if my coaching is, I don't know, $3,000 for a monthly package, I can say maybe I get, 4 coaching clients a month equals D3 times E3, 12,000. Oh, all right, well, that's not enough. I maybe need 8 coaching clients a month. 8 coaching clients. If I just had 8 coaching clients, it replaces Insider. So see what these numbers start to do for you. So it's really important to think that way. And then think, divide by, look for where the other problems are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this kind of work that you decide you're going to divide it into daily elements and also estimate what kind of time it's going to take. But then block this out into some sort of a menu where you can remind yourself of the various project elements that you want to work on. You could do this on paper, big paper column. Here's the kinds of projects I could be working on. You could do it on sticky notes on a whiteboard. You could do it on a wall. You could do it in Trello. It's fine. Trello is okay, and Todoist is fantastic. I have no religion about any particular software. The minute someone tells me some software is amazing, I go, I'm sure it is, and I smile politely. I don't care. But Todoist is great. Good for you. Todoist also works with She Who Shall Not Be Named, Alexa, which there is a benefit to that, right? I don't know that Trello does. Quick review, does everything that you're writing match the goals, the big work, etc.? Can you measure any or all of these actions against your one number? When you're doing this work, if you're not focusing, by the way, when you watch this thing later, when you get the recording, when you watch this part is kind of let's bring it all down. Let's look at everything we talked about so far and get it to this point. By the way, questions, if you're here live, start asking questions now so I can get through them all. If you're getting this after the fact, send email chris@owner.media. I'm always happy to answer questions after the fact. Next to last year, populate your daily action plan document or system of choice. We would recommend the 20-minute plan win sheet. And then last, make sure you find the time to do your connect chores. This is the one that a lot of people let fall off the menu. You think, I don't want to reach out to people. I'm shy. I'm the shyest dude you know. And I reach out to people every single day. Usually it makes them very, 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 very happy. So subscribers are more stable than speeches, which are one-offs and not recurring. True, except that if I just, thank you, Rob, action stacks. But if I chase speeches, I only have to make one person happy at a time and not 200. So there's that. All right, so let's talk through what we can do to shape a 6-month plan for you. So I want you here live. You can ask me questions. If you're an insider, just drop notes into the Slack part needs help with, and we'll work on it together. If you're unlimited, I guess drop me an email, chris@owner.media. And so we're setting up for some questions. Hey, Chris, was the 20-minute plans win sheet the one you were talking about getting printed? Yeah, I print it all the time. I just take, you have access to this document. You just print it and do as many as you want. So I swing by Staples and I print a gazillion of them at a time. My Facebook birthday wishes are the best. Thank you, Meredith. I appreciate that. All right. So Rob reminded me I'm supposed to talk to you a little bit about action stacks. So I'm going to create a new document to show you what action stacks are about. Action stacks are, and we've done an entire webinar on this, so you can actually go back and look at it. Action stacks are repeatable mini project plans. So they're not your to-do list. They're repeatable mini project plans. So let's say, for example, I'm going to create a podcast episode. That'll be my action stack. I think I've done this one before, but we'll call it good. So find a, let's see, interview a guest, and there's a stack for that as well. Then record the guest. There's a stack for that. Then there's record intro, outro. There's a stack for that. And then let's see, publish, promote. There you go. So this is a mini action stack. Now I'll show you what it's like to interview a guest. ID the guest or receive request read their book or look at their stuff, do your homework, take notes, you jerk. Schedule the interview. Let's see. And then on the interview, a guest, there'd be the, now that I'm live, so I'd say, shut off all unnecessary apps, text Jack, saying, and Rob, saying I'm doing an interview, shut off AC or heat as the case may be. Let me see what else. Open call recorder for Skype. Test both my audio and guests' audio. Hit record. Do the interview. Be funny. Hit stop. Make sure you have a file. Convert it. Send it to Dropbox. And there you go. So I make these kinds of action stacks for all different kinds of things. I'm making you this one right now so you can see me doing it live in person. But action stacks are what can go into your 20-minute plan. When I say, for instance, in your 6 months plan, that you're going to do lots of connecting with people, and I say you've got follow-ups and connections with 5 people, we could do a connection walkthrough. So connect action stack. Go to LinkedIn. Select last name, find who was last from your notes, start with next 5 people, research their current stuff. Remember, you got to ask me lots of questions. I see 2 questions in queue right now. So this is, I charge people thousands of bucks. You get it for the price that you already paid for the webinar. Research the current stuff, reach out. Don't ask for anything, you booger face. All right. So that's how you do action stacks. So once you do these, you can do them in a lot of things. I used to use Google Keep. I used to recommend Google Keep. Now I have most of mine in Evernote, just for simplicity. You can put them on anything. You can put them on a Post-it. It's just, to me, you got to have them somewhere that you can get to them again. So that's the important part. All right, let's go through it really quick. Can I cover anything more about how to find the metrics you need to find the right number? Lara, what do you sell? Always going to be my first question. Real life question. How do you personally manage your 9 box when you plan to complete something in 20 minutes, isn't done when your ladybug dings? What is super time sensitive? Well, it's not super time sensitive, number one. If it's in your 9 box, I don't know what retouching means, so go a little further for me. Do you mean like you take my crappy photo and make my yellow teeth white? So when you, when you're in your 9 box, nothing in the 9 box is time sensitive per se. It might be for some project you're working on, but if you're doing it that way, like, oh my God, I'm on a deadline, you're doing it wrong. You're not a planning person, and you're bad and you're evil. Okay, very good point, Rob. So if something is spilling over, then I might rewrite my 9 box. I might throw something out of it and onto on deck. But other times, if it dings and I'm supposed to go on to something else, I'll go on to something else, because your brain needs the shift anyway. Your brain only works in 20-minute cycles. No matter how long you think you can focus on something, you get stupid 20 minutes in, guaranteed detail. There's research about that. So I would work on something different. So that's how I would do that. By the way, so it's really important to know, if you are an insider and you want to work on the next 6 months with me on this 6-month plan, you are in. So if you're an unlimited person, consider looking at an insider, because this is a big opportunity. We can work together on fleshing out your real 6-month plan. I'll review them with you. We'll go over them together, and you can get some real direct, tight work. You can take all of the stuff you saw in this presentation and make it real. And again, you can do this with your other insider friends with need help with as well. Photo cleanup and editing, yeah, pretty much. All right, so my first thing, and I'm being mean on purpose. Aren't there apps for this now, Lara? Like, who actually pays for this? I mean, is this basically old people photo retouching? Like, you find an old box of dingy old shit photos and make them look better kind of retouching? Because, a lot of people kind of do this thing with just a couple apps nowadays. And so I'm just curious how you make that business a business. Like, that doesn't sound like a business. It sounds like a feature. And I'm not pooping on you. I'm saying this like a really harsh business coach telling you what you need. I'm a shy introvert, and I'm having trouble reconnecting with past clients without sounding like I'm just connecting because I want something. Well, so Stephanie, with past clients, we reached out to a past client. This is such a win for me because I'm a shy introvert like you. I reached out or Rob reached out. I can't remember how we did this. We said, hey, I really loved working with you in the past. What else can I work on with you? And they were like, oh my gosh, I totally have a project. Let's go. And I was like, whoa, that was amazing. Then it's not always going to work that way, but holy crap, that's really cool, right? So the opportunity is to really work through your shyness, just to say, what else can I work on with you? Sometimes it's a matter of checking in and saying, hey, it's Stephanie. I just want to check in. I really liked working with you in the past. What's on your plate right now? Is there anything I can, help lift off? Because they're past clients. Or you could say, I loved working with you in the past. Is there anyone you could refer me to that you think would benefit from the work that we did together in a similar way? Is there someone else that I could work with? Because if it's them, they're going to go, yeah, me, right? That's another way to get the referral. I just got that from somebody. They said to me, hey, here's how you approach people, for instance, in LinkedIn. You could say, a lot of my clients lately have been having this kind of a problem. I'm curious if you know other people who are having the same kind of problem, because that's what I've been working on with people. I want to help them solve it. That gives the person a chance to say, yeah, me, without you directly asking for that business. I think that's a way to do it. Denise says, the number before the number finally clicked, and I've heard you say that 10 times. Denise, I love you, and I'm glad that it did. And it's me, not you. I just haven't found the right way to say it, so this time I must have. Matt says, if your service or product can help most industries, should you pick a few industries to focus on and be an expert in and help plan your market, or should you go after as many people in industries as possible? I love the question. You should pick a few specific industries and work them for a while. If it's an industry and not your weird idea of an industry, then that means there's lots of clients. And, I've worked with Microsoft, Pepsi, Google, Coke, Comcast, Titleist. These people are all over the map. If I stuck with any one thing, if I stuck with the automobile industry, I would have done well for a while, right? But I just kind of worked all over. But you can certainly work in one specific space for a long time and not ever have to worry about it. For the 6 months, do you recommend just 2 major projects? Rob, that's a good question. I don't know that I recommend a specific number of projects because it depends what you call major. It might be just one project in 6 months. It might be one project in 2 years, right? Like if the project's huge. If you're going to build a bridge over a river, that's probably going to be a couple of years to get that done. If you're calling a major project, you're going to launch some course or something like that, then I could do that in a weekend. So you maybe want to do that. How do you figure out the one number if you're starting a new business or revenue stream and no historical data? Oh my God, I never use revenue. I never use historical data. I just figure out what I want to make and how much of it I need to make to do it. So like when I showed you that spreadsheet, that's how I'll do it. So let's say you were going to help, you're going to be a bed and breakfast turnaround guy. Well, you start figuring out what the kind of cost that you've been able to charge on it is. Do you think the industry can handle more? What's the average person making this kind of a process? What's the revenue of that business worth? You find some numbers that kind of connect that out. And then you say, I know that it's going to take me this amount of time to do this kind of a project. I know that my time is worth this kind of money and that this is the, what I need to make that true. I know that I have to reach to a lot of different people in the B&B business before I'm going to find enough of those people, to get what I need done. It's maybe they're resistant and all that. So you break out the components. Your one number might be phone calls. Your one number might, phone conversations, not, dialing the number, but getting someone to say yes to a call. And when you start to figure out, am I going to set up a 6-month Slack topic? No, I think we have enough topic things set up the way they are now. I would say needs help with is probably the easiest one to use. Stephanie, look at that. I love you much. Photos from magazine ads, website clients, ad agencies, in-house marketing departments. Ideal client has multiple properties and takes 30+ shot of each environment they're trying to sell or make up shades or anything sort of repetitive that needs a human to do cleanup. Yeah. So in the idea of finding your one number, so everything you just explained to me, you sell a really simple service and it takes you it's complex in what you do, but it's a straightforward service. So you need to know the following kind of inputs: who buys this in what kind of company, how many of those people can I reach, and how many of those people do I have to talk to before I get a yes? And so if you know that it takes you 6 phone calls or 6 email chains to get someone to say, I'm really willing to work on this project with you, then your one number is 6 for every one. So if you need 5 people, 5 times 6 is 30, right? So you go, I have to have 30 of these, right? So that's how you get there. That's how you figure out your one number. It's the number before the number. So if I need 6 clients, what do I need to get those 6 clients? I need X number of whatevers to get that. That's what you're looking for. If I need to lose 30 pounds, I need this many days on the treadmill or something. Oh my golly. Matt asked a question I love getting asked all the damn time, but it's so funny because on my other computer, I have a text wrangler thing set up to tell you that. So I will tell you that I use, he asked me the question, sorry. What camera do I use on my video blog? And I use the Canon G7X Mark II, and there's a link to it now, cbrogan.me/G7X. And that camera is very small, very compact, actually, I'll get it to you. One second. This is the Canon G7X Mark II, super tiny, right? Flip out screen. This is what makes a good camera for video blogging. Hey, look, it's you. Oh, you can't see. And that's what I use. There you go. A lot of people like the Sony RX100. I haven't tried it, but everyone loves it. Casey Neistat, who I really like, uses it. That'll probably be the next one I buy, but this Canon has treated me so well. But just keep trying the channels until you find the ones that work. So how they're all going to be different, right? You named a lot of different businesses. Real estate professionals, if they're the kind of person, if it's a big organization, there's probably someone who handles their graphics problems or whatever. You might look for that. You might, with makeup, for instance, Jane, I don't know if you're an insider or not, Lara, but if you're an insider, find Jane Morehouse, Jane PR, and ask her, does she know anybody in that space? Because she's connected huge in like the spas and salon industry and all that. I'm totally blanking on a word in there. And then you can find how they most prefer to be connected. That's really, 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 really important. That's so funny. Again, on my other computer, I have this stuff all set up for one little character stroke, and you'll see all of that information. Frodo mini tripod. So I'm going to give you the answer right now. That's it. The mixed-to-BD. I'm going to send it to you, Bob. 1 second. So funny. I like that it's turned into a video blog session. So yeah, Jane knows some people. So there we go. What is a realistic timeline to go from zero formalized content to a credible website? Couple hours. Probably takes you a few hours, Meredith. It might take you 3 hours if you have to go pee or something like that in the middle. But I will promise you that it does not take a long time to make a website, especially if you use tools that are really good, or if you work with somebody who does especially simple type work. What people get wrong on their websites all the time is they make really difficult websites. I'll show you an example, by the way. So Studio Press, which is friends of mine, and I love them, and I use their product, and I made my mom and dad use it. Studio Press Sites has this whole new thing out now where you can look at themes and whatever, and they're very simple. And it's WordPress. This is the same people that do Rainmaker. So I use Rainmaker on owner.media and on chrisbrogan.com, and on some other projects, I have Studio Press set up. And so, for instance, there are all these themes kind of already built. So unless you sell something very, 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 very specific that only has one way to sell it or something like that, there's probably a theme already built here that you could use as a starting point. Look at Hello Pro. Really simple, nothing fancy. You could do it. And then, for instance, one of my new favorite themes is one of Brian Gardner's super minimal design ones. It's called Monochrome Pro. I'm worried if I touch something. Can I make it just get bigger and see a demo? There's a live demo. Okay. I mean, that's pretty damn basic, right? I mean, that's a pretty basic minimum theme, and I like it. So I would go with something like that. Like if you're paying some bunch of designers and they're saying it's taking a long time, you've got the wrong person. And I can tell you that there's a lot of ways to fix that, but one is to fire that person and what the time should be focused on, Meredith. Again, if you're an insider, start the simple marketing system. Look for clarity. Look for the answer to the question, what is the most important thing we're selling? I'll show you an example. Rob and I rebuilt this page fairly recently, and I decided that the one thing I was helping insiders do more than anything else is how to finally get started. Matt, this is your question, by the way. You said blah, blah, lots of industries. I'm picking blah, blah, one specific kind of problem, and I'm really focusing on that. I'm saying, get you from it's not done to I'm ready to get started. So that's kind of where I'm focusing my marketing. Now I'll help anyone with any problem they have, but this is where I'm starting them. So for instance, and so, hey, we get it. You've already read a lot of blogs. Tell me, by the way, I bet most of you watching this live and or the recorded people, this is you when I'm talking right here before you chose to be an insider. Hey, we get it. You already read a lot of blogs, you listen to tons of podcasts, and you stay caught up with all the latest trends, and yet you're still stumbling. You still have challenges. You're still looking for the building blocks to success that haven't yet snapped into place for you. You haven't started that new project, that business idea, that new shift. Are you a non-starter? It happens. We get it. There you go. Clarity plus action plus community. This is the thing. But I've done this already. You've bought online courses before, and it didn't work. Oh man, I know. So I wrote this 100% into your psyche because Emily yelled, me, right? I wrote this whole thing as if I'm right inside your damn brain, and it works, and people buy it. We sold a $1,000 annual thing today because it speaks to you. So this whole thing was built on the concept of I know what's bugging you and I can fix it, and that's where I sold to, and that's all the focal power of what we're doing with Insider, right? So when you are working in your thing, that's what you want to work on the most. How clear is it? How obvious is it? Do people understand what I'm selling them? Every problem we have is a clarity problem. The execution stuff gets done once we feel really clear about it. The reason you're procrastinating, I'm looking at a lot of you right now when I say this, the reason you're procrastinating is you are not clear yet what you sell, to whom you sell it, and how to best talk about how you sell it. And that's the kind of thing that we work on. And I'll tell you that it's really a big deal. Rob says I might have answered Meredith's question wrong about it was how much content do you need? 5 of something. 5 sounds good. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter because when you say what's credible is can you help everybody out? Denise is asking me to repeat myself as if I know what I just said. Yes, most everyone's problem that's here is partly a clarity problem, I think is what I said, which is that your problem is that you're not clear on what you sell exactly. You're not clear on to whom you sell. You're not clear on how your language connects to them. You're not saying their problem in the right way. I mean, look what I said to Tracy. She sells medical malpractice insurance. I said, no one wants to talk to you, Tracy. Tracy knows this for a fact. So, you'll get inbound calls because someone needs to change it and they hated their other agent so badly, or they hated their other something in the process so badly they'll talk to you. But that's not the same as I can't wait to talk to Tracy. So she has to earn those people by coming up with an approach that someone's going to go, man, I need to hear what she's saying. She says true that with a lot of exclamation points. So that's how it works. All right. I thought I was going to work through more of your 6-month plans, but we didn't because no one put up a whole lot of questions or information about that. If you're on Insider, come into the Slack and start asking me questions. We'll go there. I love you so much. We're going to work on this over the next several months. Join. If you are not yet an insider, go to owner.media/insider and check it out. There's all different kinds of ways to buy this. You can pay just monthly. You can cancel anytime. But when you buy, you get access to the whole deal, coaching, all that kind of stuff. Much love to you. So glad you're part of this. I'm going to kick you off my porch. Blah, blah, blah. Merry Christmas. Good night. All right. Thanks. Excited to work on it. Geez, you are excited to work on it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Chris Brogan. Rob Hatch is also here tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Talk to you later.